Hello and welcome to Zentangle class number 59. We do have a live class going on right now. We also do have another live class coming up next week on June 3rd if you wish to join us in the library. So we're going to start with whatever shape you want. And I'm going to probably do maybe about an inch or so, just kind of divide it into inch long rows. And then I'm going to make a grid, so it's an inch by inch kind of square grid. So just kind of move over approximately an inch. You may have a fourth, beginning of a fourth row. It's up to you, or whatever size you have. So I'm going to divide this box in half, and then I'm going to divide it in half again. So I'm going to make a small grid. And then I'm going to take each one and I'm going to divide them in half the long way. See how I'm turning around in a circle? So basically, imagine that it's going around in a circle. So it's going to look something like that. So now this is one option that you can do. So I'm going to show you one option. So you're going to put a dot right in the middle of each line. And I'm just going to pick this first quadrant and I'm going to draw an arched arrow or top of a triangle. So it's going to be arched that way. Turn my paper, do another arched arrow. Another one here. And it's going to stop at that point. So that's what the point of that little dot is. Alright, so something just like that. So they all each go in different directions. And I'm going to go ahead and color in each triangle. So now as for this design, you can stop right here and leave it like this, and you can add the extra detail along each one of these, one of these points, but I'm going to actually add a second piece. So if you're into quilting, this is actually a quilting pattern that I saw. I'm going to add an extra line on top of each of these triangles that I already made, or these arrow tops that I made, and do the exact same thing. I'm just going to put another arched triangle or arrow top on each one of these sections and color it in. So this is the original one. It's basically like an arched flying geese, if you're familiar with quilting at all. So it's a flying geese pattern, but instead of having straight sides, they're just arched. So anyway, they each go in different directions. So it's kind of like a little mini quad. So there's 4 sections that you're working in, and they go in different directions. So I'm just going to show you, so that the first option where I did the point, if you just want one arrow in each direction, that's how you would do that. Just kind of draw that little dot and then draw one triangle and add the details later. But I'm going to draw it with the 2. So again, this is the second option, I guess, so to speak. Alright, so now we're going to go back and add in the details. And on the side of each one, I'm going to draw these arched lines. They're not touching each other. They're just as many as you can fit. You can have them as close or as far apart as you'd like. You can alter them, like this smaller size, this mini quad. You can have them be close together. And then in another box, you can have them be further apart. Or you can do the reverse, where you leave the arrow white and you color in the background. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can mix and match this type of design. So I'm going to finish up this mini quad, and then I'll show you another way that you can vary this design. So this mini quad is already finished, which is good. So now I'm going to imagine that I'm drawing another set. So I'm going to basically imagine that the mini quad takes up one part of it, and I'm going to draw a side one, a down one, and a left and right one here. So imagine that this is another quad, these 4 sections. I'm just taking up, the mini quad takes up one section. So I'm going to go ahead and divide it in half already and do my arched lines going sideways or going to the right. Oops, I need one more, sorry. So you're basically repeating the exact same thing we just did, but on a larger scale. Okay, so then I'm just going to go ahead and, you can fill this in however you want. I'm just going to go ahead and draw my arch lines here as well. And then I'll go back and finish and continue on with the quad. So you can see how this is kind of a larger version of the quad that we just did the mini. So this is the bigger one, and then you can interchange some of the sections with the mini section. So it's entirely up to you. You can just do a whole bunch of large versions, or it takes up 4 large squares, or you can add in these minis and just kind of, work it into whatever design that you want throughout for your section. So for the sake of the video, I'm not going to continue filling more of the boxes, but of course you can fill up what you have. I just wanted to show you that you can interchange the mini quads and the large quads. You can completely change it and make it your own. It's really a fun pattern to play with. I'm going to make a box for my second pattern. And we're going to divide this into a grid as well. So I'm going to do this one a little bit smaller, maybe a 1/2 inch, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Just kind of make it into whatever size you think will work for you. It looks like I'll have about 4 rows. And then this is a square grid, so it's going to be whatever distance you did top to bottom. You're going to do the same left to right. So to begin, we're going to draw some little points, some little chevrons, and they kind of just go in a little bit from the center. So the easiest way to do this is to take a pencil and very lightly draw a line straight through, diagonally through one section. You're going to come down slightly to a point and come out. Come down slightly and come out. Come down slightly. And this box isn't completely full, so it might not look 100%. Now the other side, you're going to go the opposite direction. So you're going to come up and then go down. Come up and then go down, come up and then go down. So you're going to fill in the whole thing like that, and you're going to basically start over. So if you went down at first, now I'm going to go down again. So you're basically going to do alternating directions of these lines. It's easy to get confused. I do recommend that you do the pencil line. I didn't, but I recommend that you do the pencil line diagonally through each of these, especially the first time. So that point, this point here, comes up just slightly from the pencil mark, so it makes kind of a zigzag. You can make it as drastic as you like. If you want to make it a little bit sharper of a zig or a zag, that's totally fine, but something just like that. So again, you can use the pencil line, do it diagonally in any direction that you want, and then you can go ahead and do the points there. So now I'm going to color in the entire zigzag. So I'm just going to trace it with my large Sharpie here and just color in all of these pieces. Now I'm going to switch back to my little pen, and I'm going to basically draw an L upside down or the regular direction over the point. So it comes over, like this one here will come over a little bit and down. And this one will go down first and then over. So it's just going to be right around where that point is on each of your chevrons. And they'll go in different directions. So like this one will go down, this one will go across and down. So it just kind of take your time, look at which direction it should go. And this should be a little bit larger L shape or kind of box that you're creating. You don't want it to be super, super tiny, because it's going to kind of be the center of your pattern. Something just like that. I don't think I missed any. So now in each one of these, doesn't matter which one you start in, you're going to basically draw a whole bunch of L's going in the same direction as the original box in that, or the original L that you drew in that section. So you're just going to trace it. These lines can be a little bit closer together. You don't want them to be the same spacing as the center box because you want that center box to appear white like that. So you can kind of see that it has a white center. You want that to keep going. So you can work out to in, or this one here, I'm going to work outward, work from the inside and then go out. So sometimes you may have a box that's not 100% square. You may have not enough exact room. So you're just going to kind of fudge it a little bit, however you're going to do it to make it look good. I don't know if I'll have any, but I'll let you know if I have any where the top, there's a little bit more room at the top or on the side than there is on the other edge. This one here I can already tell is not going to line up. So I have all my lines filled on the side. I'm just going to draw a line straight across and kind of fill in that gap. Nobody's going to look very specifically at if you have a top and a side or a bottom and a side line. So just kind of draw another line. This one here lines up, but just kind of draw another line across the top or along the side there and just sort of end it or come down a little bit onto the previous line to get it to look like it's completely even. That's a fun little pattern. I like that one. You can actually do a quilting with that one as well, but it's just kind of fun. That's not where I saw it though. So now we're going to do our last one. This is kind of a doodle or something that you can use just to add a little interest. I'm going to draw a short wavy line. You can make this as long as you'd like. I'm going to draw some smiles. So basically a little bit wider U with a top across it. So you're just going to make some little boats, some little bottom boats is what they are. You can space them however you want. If you have a long line, you can space them out. I'm going to do an odd number because it's a little bit more interesting. And then I'm going to put my sails on the top. So just a little mast with a sail. They can be all the same. You can change up the boats, how they look. You can make some really tall boats, some really long boats. It's up to you what you want to do. So you can have a lot of fun with this one. So now that I have all my boats, I'm going to cast my lines here. I'm just going to do a little arch up and then come down. All of my lines are going to be a little bit different length. So this one will go here. This one I'm going to have 2 on. And then this one I'm going to go to the side and come down just a smidge. On each of the lines, I'm going to draw a hook. So the hook should be a little bit wider. So it's just a U with a little arrow on the end. So nothing fancy, nothing complicated. And the hooks can go in different directions. And now here's where you can have a lot of fun. You can dress up the sea however you want. So I'm going to draw some little worms on my hooks. Of course, they're just sitting on the hooks rather than being impaled because that's disgusting. So it's just a little squiggly line with some bug eyes and some worm ridges. I know this is a very small detail to see on here, but you can make your worms as silly or as small as you want. You can hang different things from these hooks. They don't have to be worms if you're not a worm person. It's fine. The original design that I saw was some kind of birthday wish card or something like that, and it had like little stars hanging on here, but it didn't really make much sense to me why you would hang stars under the water, but so that's why I'm changing it. So I'm going to put these funny little worms with the big bug eyes here on the hooks, and they're all just kind of sitting there waiting for something to happen. All right, so then you can add more details. You can have like this guy here is looking to the left. I'm gonna draw a big fish just kind of staring at him too. And these can be just sketchy types fish. You can go as detailed as you want with these. You can have a lot of fun. Just kind of have them looking at each other, waiting to see what's gonna happen. You can add as many fish as you want and add some little bubbles or little waves. You can, if you're closer to the bottom of your section, you can draw some seaweed or kelp or something, anything that you want down here to add whatever kind of interest or fun liveliness to the little pattern is entirely up to you. So something like this you would use below a pattern. So your pattern would be up on the top behind the boats, and then the fish or the little worms or whatever would hang down below. Or you can draw kind of a box and you can have patterns on the left and right and bottom and have the boats on the top. So you can kind of mix and match how you use this, or you can just use it on a card. It's entirely up to you. So I hope that you enjoyed our patterns for today. Remember, we do have live class next Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30. As always, we do have the virtual option for you as well. I hope that you're staying healthy, having a great day, and we'll see you soon.